Mrs. Erica Campbell, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine as well. I'm excited to finally have a chat with you. I've been trying to get you for an interview for years, it feels like.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, we are here.
Okay, now let's talk about this album that you have coming out March 25th titled Help,
Yes.
which is your first solo project. Now, the first question that I wanted to know is, what made you decide to title the album Help?
It's what I needed. It was, once I finished the album, that was the song that I think best represented the space that I was in last year.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy year, and I needed God's help.
I read that you actually wrote about 90% of the album, with Gerald and Tammy Haddon as well that helped you out. But did you feel like this project was therapeutic for you?
Absolutely. Actually, I didn't write. I wrote most of the record with Warren. Gerald and Tammy
wrote
a song called I'm a Fan. They wrote a song called I'm a Fan on the record. It was quite therapeutic. It was a departure from what was going on, dealing with the filming of the show and just everything we had to go through last year, losing my father, changes in management, just all kinds of stuff. And so when I was in the studio, these songs just would come out. We recorded them, and, Warren was being Warren at his best, which means pushing the mess out of me, requiring me to be the best I could absolutely be. And, we just came up with some songs that we love. I wish I had some real deep scientific kind of reason for why the song came. It's just how they came. Sometimes music doesn't really have a rhyme or reason like that. Maybe some people write like that. I just write from the place that my heart is in.
Were there any songs in particular that were hard for you to record just because of how close they were, because all the songs came from your heart?
Yes. The song Eddie about my dad. Warren put this track on that was amazing. I sang the first line, "Whoa, Eddie." And the moment I sang it, I burst into tears. And so Warren said, "Do you want to finish this later?" And I said, "No, we have a deadline to meet. I got to get this album finished. Let's do it today." So I sang the hook and listened to it for a while and sat down and wrote the verses immediately. And we were trying to figure if we were going to write like a bridge and all of that. And he was like, "Just talk about your dad." After I sang the first two verses, I just started talking about my dad, and it was very, very rough to get through. I've even played it for my sisters, and sometimes we can listen to it, and sometimes we can't just because it's really fresh. The wound is really fresh, But I think it's a song that honors him. It kind of immortalizes him in a way for me. And I know a lot of people deal with loss, and hopefully it will encourage some hearts and, make people remember fondly of their loved ones that they've lost.
I do send my condolences to you and your family. We are sorry to hear about your loss. That song was a beautiful ode to your father, and may he rest in peace. And the song was sad, and I actually listened to the album, and the follow-up after that is Looking Like, and that was like the perfect pick me up.
Yes, sir.
Because
absolutely.
Eddie will take people to a place, and then after it's Looking Like, you just pull yourself back together, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, that right there, that was the whole purpose of that song, just to encourage yourself, looking like I'm going to make it through this, We've all been in that place where we've been waiting on God or asking God a question, and he didn't answer when you wanted him to, or maybe the answer wasn't what you wanted it to be, but you still have to be so convinced that you are going to make it through, that you won't stay down forever. So we wrote a song about it. Looking like I'm going to make it through this.
And I do want to say I'm a big fan of skits on albums, and I think that the Atkins House skit was so funny. It was so lighthearted and funny. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Was that Baby Zaya that did your voice, or
no? That was Krista. That was my Krista. That was my Krista that did that. And Warren had come up with the idea. So my mom, used to write songs, and so we decided to all get in the studio. So that was actually me and my sisters sounding crazy because we never rehearsed that song. We just got in the studio and did it, and Warren recorded it, and we used it for the skit, which was such a perfect fit for the song.
Did your sisters do any background vocals on the album?
Oh, God, yeah. I think almost all my sisters. Yeah, almost all my sisters were on the record. No, two of them weren't. Lisa wasn't, and Tina isn't. But my sister Shantae sang a lot on the record. Sang a lot of backgrounds. My sister Elena. Krista's on All I Need Is You and Help. Krista's on like maybe 3-4 songs singing backgrounds.
Okay.
So it's good. I always include family. That's like a necessary element for me. to have somebody on the record.
Who was the producer for More Than a Lover? Because something about that beat just...
Warren Campbell.
Really? That beat is crazy. I really like that song.
I think gospel listeners have only heard what he does for Mary Mary, but Warren is really is just a cut above the rest, in my opinion. Like, I hear the stuff that he creates, and it's just so great. And he's not stuck to one thing. He listens to everything from big band to Frank Sinatra to classical music, just jazz. He listens to everything, fusion, standards, and I think it all comes out in his creativity when he's creating tracks, when he's producing, because he plays everything. So he'll go from the drums to a banjo to the harmonica, piano, bass, just you name it. It's crazy.
Right. A man of many hats.
Yes.
I know you said now you put the album out. Well, you said the album, it goes now because that's what you were going through in life. Is there a reason why you felt like now was the time for you to pursue a solo career?
The time presented itself. Me and Tina had always been fussing about, when we go and how much we go, and only wanting to do a certain amount of, dates and concerts and appearances and whatnot. And she loves the music, but she's not so crazy about the business. And I had a desire to keep going when she kind of wanted to slow down and she wanted to be home more. So I needed to create something that was uniquely me, so it wouldn't seem like I was just going out as a bootleg Mary Mary. I wanted something that was just my music. So we decided to create some songs, and A Little More Jesus came. I had no idea that it was going to move up the charts the way it did, that it was going to be nominated for a Grammy. And so I knew that it was, God was opening the door wider than what I thought it would be opened. And it worked perfectly for her. She was like, do your thing. I need to chill for a minute. I want to stay home. I want to, work on family and just do this and get this together and get this right. So, do your thing. And I said, okay.
How did you link up with Lecrae for the title track, Help? And are you a fan of gospel rap?
That was Warren's decision. Lecrae is very dope. I love the way he's presented his artistry. He's awesome. He's awesome. I mean, even from how he's done it all independently, because he's not with a major label. And I know, gospel has a hard time, but gospel rap has an even harder time because people are not as receptive to that art form. And so Warren said he's who he wanted to get, and he came in the studio and blessed the track, and it was a perfect marriage of rap and music.
Right.
And
yes, it was.
You have the song as it is.
Like I said before, I listened to the project, and I'm excited for it to come out and people to hear the whole body as well, because, you can kind of sense the Mary Mary-esque of it, but it still has, like, this is Erica Campbell written all over it. You know what I mean? Like, this is your sound. You're going into your own, because it's not like it's even one sound on the album. It just touches so many different types of sounds and beats and tempos, and it's just a really, like, nice collection of music in one body of work.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I did that. I wanted to make sure that it was different. So whether it's Power of God or Changes or, I'm a Fan, which is an amazing song that Gerald and Tammy wrote for me. Well, they didn't write it for me. They're actually letting me borrow it. That's Gerald's song. And Warren harassed him and hounded him until he let me cut the song. So they let me borrow it for a little while, and then I'm going to give it back, and Gerald's probably going to do it over. That's a cool thing about having really talented friends. They all contribute musically, when they come to the studio. And I'm so excited about this record. I'm glad that it's diverse, that it's different, and I hope people enjoy it.
Oh, they will. I can put the uGospel.com stamp of approval on that.
Yay! Thank you.
And March 25th, Help is in stores. Make sure you get that. Like I said before, I know you are a busy woman, but before we go, I do want to talk about Season 3 of Mary Mary.
Yes.
Are you It's a lot going on this season. Do you ever, I know you guys are producers of the show, so you know what's going to be on, before it airs, but do you ever sit back and watch it and you either cringe or you get mad again or you just have to turn the channel, turn it off? Is it like, what goes through your mind watching this season?
I just
so
watch
far?
it. Sometimes I feel the emotion again, but I don't get mad again. I just kind of shake my head like, wow, that really happened like that, huh? Because me and Tina are really big on resolve, so even though the show is over, we've had, conversations with different people to straighten stuff out and fix stuff, because you can't just leave it like that. TV is TV, so they produce it in a way that gets your blood boiling and all of that. It is hard. Me and Tina watched the edits, and then we sat and watched it together, and then we're actually, this Thursday night, there's going to be something called Watch With. Well, right after the show, you'll watch us watching the show. And you hear our commentary and our, banter that we have going back and forth about the things that happen. So yeah, you might want to tune into the Watch With. The Watch With is going to be pretty awesome.
And this season it kind of goes into Tina and Teddy's situation. What advice did you give her how to persevere and push forward and move on?
Whew, I just I just tried to love her real hard. And our whole family did. That was a rough year. It was a really, really rough year. And she had a hard time because Tina has such a big personality, and she don't do nothing little. So when she mad, that's big too. I mean, real big. And it wasn't always gospel, but she's very truthful about about how she went through it. But what she did do was it was a year where she, even if she wasn't saying traditionally. Praying in a traditional way, she still was talking to God the whole year. She was fasting and praying, and our whole family started a prayer line. So we get on the phone, even to this day, every morning at 7:30 and every night at 6:10, and we pray for everything. We pray for marriages. We pray that their children are safe. We pray for ministries. We pray for the single ones to get married. We pray for good health. We pray for wisdom. We pray for God's blessing and God's hand on the marriages. And so I think we've all reaped the benefit of that prayer, but mostly Tina and Teddy. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain how we made it through. But we did, and nobody died, thankfully. And you see it all on the show, and I think it was very brave of her to do that. I think it was very courageous. I think that she now does not have to be held hostage to somebody possibly finding out. He told you, so then you can make of it what you want. And we've always been that way, to get over whatever you're dealing with. I'm not going to be 25 years down the line talking about what happened to me when I was 16 and I'm still crying like it happened yesterday. Don't got time for it. So, she said, these are her own words. I'm going to do hurt, shame, and embarrassment real hard, and then we're going to get over this. And we're going to move forward. And if I'm a Christian and I say that I believe in forgiveness and redemption, then I'm going to see if it works. I don't know if it will, but I'm going to try it out. And so that's, how she spent her year. And sometimes I would go to her house and just sit there. She wouldn't be in a talking mood, and I would say, okay, I would just be there. Or I would take the kids with me to my house and, and just give her space and time to heal and be better for her.
I went to the premiere in New York for the season 3 when she kind of, said the same thing you just said. And before I went to that, I kind of wondered, what made her reveal that or talk about it publicly. But after she said, she wasn't going to be a slave to someone else holding something against her, it just made so much sense. Like, that was the smartest thing to do.
Right. Somebody asked us about, other reality shows and how we feel and all that. And I said, listen, with what I went through, I can understand those women and those people being that upset. If you're sitting across the table and then the producers escort in the person who tore your marriage apart, what you think the woman's going to do besides throw a glass at her head? It's like they put them in these uncomfortable, unfair situations and then expect them to be rational and be calm. These are matters of the heart. You can't play with matters of the heart. When somebody really loves somebody and really believes that they're together or really believes somebody is their friend and you're betrayed so greatly in front of the whole world, it's embarrassing. And so I understand. Do I condone it? Not necessarily, but I understand. And so, watching my sister go through this was hard. One of the women was somebody who we called a friend, who we thought was a part of our family. And we had to rise above it and be mature and not take the low road. That was not easy to do, but we did it. And I'm very proud. And I say we because I feel like me and my sister have always been joined at the hip, and not just me and Tina, all my sisters. Mm-hmm. So we all went through it together. And God will do what he said he will do. He will stand by his word. He will come through. Yep. No weapon that is formed against me shall prosper. My brother Fred Hammond taught me that. And
okay, the last question. How do you, Mrs. Erica Campbell, balance a solo career, reality TV, and being a part of a Grammy Award-winning group?
Man, I have no idea. I take one day at a time. I tend to say yes a lot and end up very tired, but I'm committed to what God has given me, and I know to whom much is given, much is required. I take time when I need to. Like when I get off the phone with you, I'm going to go play with my kids downstairs and cook dinner, and then I have to pack because I have a promo schedule that's going to have me gone for 3 weeks straight. But in the middle of that are 2 Mary Mary concerts. So you just bounce it all back and forth. And my husband's going to come out on the road with me because he don't want to miss his wife and I don't want to miss my husband. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a delicate juggling act that you have to keep in order.
Mrs. Campbell, I want to thank you so much for having this talk with us
You're welcome.
today. We were excited to talk to you. Like I said, I've been waiting for so long. March 25th, help will be in stores. Make sure you grab that. This is Mike Jones, uGospel.com, with the one and only Mrs. Erica Campbell. And Erica, have a blessed day, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And let me tell you, I get the uGospel updates on my phone, and I read it every day. And I appreciate you for keeping the news coming in our genre. I so appreciate it.